Hello and welcome to Mindset Matters with me, Ciara. This week I'm joined by coach, author and TEDx speaker Siobhán Mungovan. Siobhán is a shining light of hope, positivity and empowerment, and I hope you love this chat just as much as I did. Siobhán, thank you so much for joining me on my podcast, Mindset Matters. For anyone who might not be familiar with you and your story, tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay, so like I said, my name is Siobhán Mungovan. I'm from County Clare, and I guess my story goes way back to 1986, the year in which I was born, and I was born with a complex condition back then called a spina bifida. Now, spina bifida does come with its kind of whole host of bits and bobs, but I guess it's in a sense that it's been a roller coaster of a journey, but it's had its ups and its downs, and I've been very fortunate that I do have a mum and dad. I'm very fortunate to get to the age of 39 and still have my mum and dad in my life, and I have two brothers, and Shane and Connor, Shane being the eldest and Connor being the baby. I guess I have a job. I am very fortunate with having a disability in today's society. Having a job, I work in Clare County Council, and I have done for the last 20 years now. Goodness, time is flying. So that's me really in a nutshell.
And you're a coach as well, Siobhán, isn't that right?
Yes, exactly. I am a coach as well. So I'm a coach since about maybe 2014, and I help and support women with the grieving process of losing a part of themselves. I guess in society we talk an awful lot about the grieving process of losing a loved one, which is extremely, extremely important. And it's something that, again, like I said, I'm very fortunate that I haven't had experience in, but I guess we do kind of forget about the grieving process of losing a part of yourself and having to accept maybe certain parts of you that maybe not so nice, or having to come to terms with like myself throughout my own journey with the diagnosis or prognosis. That's where I help and come into the situation and help you with.
And so being a coach, you would be familiar with empowering people.
Yeah.
So tell me, Siobhán, what would be the things that you would do to empower yourself?
I guess for me, it's the self-belief piece. And that's the piece that I think we're always learning. And I think sometimes when we are coaches, people think that we have all the answers in our own life and we have all of our ducks in a row and everything in our lives is perfect, which isn't really the case. I think life is a journey and we go through different obstacles in our lives. But I think that self-belief piece within my own journey, and that has gotten me to the age of 39. I do think that's a really, really important piece. It's not a piece now, and this is what I always say to the people that I work with, it's not a piece that you just switch on the light and it's automatically there. It's not instilled into us, but it's something that you can learn. It's like, I always say that people say to me, like, oh, Siobhán, you're very confident. But you're not really born with confidence. It's something that you learn over a period of time, and you get to know yourself as a person. I think from my own journey and learning about myself and being open to learning my good sides and my bad sides, and that has helped me and supported me to learn the self-belief and the confidence piece.
And do you think, Siobhán, talk me through the things that would have helped you gain that self-belief piece?
I guess for me, I'm extremely fortunate, and I always consider myself fortunate. The building blocks of the foundation to me getting to where I am is my support network around me, and my family play a huge role in that. And I'm always an advocate that your family could be anybody. It could be your friends, it could be an aunt, it could be an uncle. For me, I'm very fortunate that it was my mum. And my mum, to this day, I will always say this, they always talk about your person and who your person is in life. And I firmly believe that my mum is my person. And even when I speak about my mum, it just automatically brings up emotion within me, because I'm so fortunate, because Like, I was born in a time where spina bifida, we didn't even know what it was. We didn't know how to navigate spina bifida. My mom was 28 at the time. And that the three things that my mum was told at age 28 was that she will probably be brain damaged because of having hydrocephalus. She'll need round-the-clock care, and she'll never be able to walk. Now, I can imagine from a 28-year-old perspective, you're still young in life and you're still trying to find your way in the world, to be told those three really strong, powerful, like, negative things. And my mum's response, and it's something that I will take with me until the day I take my last breath. She said, "She's my daughter. By the way, her name is Siobhán, and I'm taking her home." And I feel like if somebody in life can have such self-belief and confidence within themselves, and such belief and confidence with me being such a newborn, how could I give up on myself going forward?
And so, Siobhán, what, or even would you even describe it as a challenge? Did you face challenges then throughout life?
Absolutely, 100%. And I think this is the thing, like, people always say, well, how did you do it? But there's no answer to that, because anything that life puts in front of you, you have no choice. You have it. The choice is sink or swim.
Yeah.
And I chose to swim, but I know no different.
Yeah.
I know no different. I only know life with spina bifida. I will say that my survival instinct is extremely strong. I always say, like, you could plonk me in the middle of the woods and leave me there for 24 hours, and I somewhat navigate myself around. And I think that's why I think I was born to be a coach as well, because the problem solving and helping support people out of these predicaments. But there's always, and I think we always say, like, if we all mentioned our problems, we all went around in a circle and we all said our problems and we all put our problems in the middle of the room, I can guarantee you take your own one back. And the reason why I say that is because you and only you know how to navigate your problems. You do not know how to navigate another person's problems. So, like, how do I do it? I don't have an answer for that question. I just do. And I think maybe some people might think that's quite dismissive, but there's other elements. There's, like I mentioned, the support network. I'd be nothing, absolutely nothing, without my support network. And I think this is why I'm advocating for people within Ireland, because I really do believe this, that the people, the carers of Ireland are the forgotten people of Ireland. They're not really talked about, they're not spoken about, because I believe if somebody drops myself and my mum on the street, they'll automatically ask how I'm doing. But nobody will very seldom ask how the carer is doing. But I want to get across that just because I'm living with the condition, my carer is also there by the side. They might as well have it as well. So just ask after them.
Yeah, that's an important thing to remember. That's a really good point, Siobhán. I would ask this of a lot of my podcast guests about getting vulnerable with themselves. What do you think of that? And do you think, is it easy to get vulnerable for you and for others?
I'm smiling when you say that, because for me, getting vulnerable, oh my goodness, it actually puts shivers. It's one of the hardest things.
Yes.
For me personally, and I know everyone's experience with it is very different. And I think it comes down to my own experience with the fear of rejection. If I show a part of myself that's a bit complex, a bit difficult, especially with all my bits and bobs, as I call them, like, it is a lot to take. And I suppose I'm resistant in telling some people, because in case I scare them, in case they go away, and to have to deal with that rejection is very hard. But I am learning as I'm getting older to be more open about it, because at the end of the day, like, vulnerability is a strength. And
Yes.
trust me, it's taking all its strength in me to be open and vulnerable. But again, I'm a baby steps kind of gal.
Yes.
I'm a baby steps kind of gal. Nothing in my book is overnight. It's always at your own pace. And I think that's a very important piece to mention, that your journey is personal to you. How I do things, you may think is completely back to front and upside down, but it's about finding your own way.
Yeah.
And for me, like, some people would have said, oh, being vulnerable and being open and being authentic, and oh my gosh, when like all of those words are thrown at me all together, I'm like, oh gosh, I don't know, no, I can't. Like, let's just deal with one of them at a time. It's just too much, like. But it's not to say that you won't get there, but you'll get there at your own pace. It's about staying in your lane.
Yeah, that's it. And Siobhán, you've given a TED talk, haven't you? Tell me about how that came about and what it was about.
I was very fortunate to got the opportunity to do a TEDx Rathholt in 2023. My goodness, 2.5 years ago now at this stage. And it is something since day dot that I have had on my bucket list to do. And I did apply for TEDx a few years ago and didn't get it. But I always, and I think this is where the self-belief piece kicks in for me, that I always said to myself that I am going to get on that stage. Haven't a clue how I'm going to do it, but I know it's going to happen. Now, I don't know if I'm 100% into this whole manifestation kind of thing that's out there in the universe at the moment. I do struggle with it a little bit, but it's part and parcel. I think it comes with the whole kind of like, I can and I will achieve it, but it's about putting those little steps into place beforehand, because my first speaking engagement wasn't TEDx. So I was building my craft up along to get that opportunity to be good enough to go on to the TEDx stage. And everybody knows, like, getting onto the TEDx stage is like a 4-leaf shamrock. It is so difficult. So the opportunity was incredible. And to have to be able to do a monologue for 15 minutes for an idea that's worth sharing. So that's what TEDx is all about. It's an idea that's worth sharing. And I suppose when I had the opportunity to publish my second book, I Smiled Back, the Story Nobody Knows. I did a photo shoot. And now we're talking about vulnerability on this podcast today, and you couldn't meet any more vulnerability with what I did for that book. I did a photo shoot in and around my scoliosis. So I have kyphoscoliosis, which is scoliosis from the front and the back. And I believe in today's society, it's all about your stereotypical beauty. Well, anybody that knows Siobhán knows that she likes to do things a little bit differently and likes to show that beauty comes in all shapes and sizes, whether it's big, small, whatever. So I guess I wanted to shed light into a disfigurement. Because out there in society, disfigurement is a dirty word. We can't be talking about that. No goodness. Well, they hadn't met Siobhán Mungovan yet, because I am going to shed light on things that need to be shed light on. So the TEDx talk is in and around vulnerability and being comfortable with who you are as an individual and showing your beauty to the world. So yeah, it's an amazing opportunity. And to this day, it's probably going to be one of the highlights of my life so far.
And just what you're talking about there, like, there's a lesson in that for everybody, I think, about getting comfortable with who they are and what they're about. With yourself, Siobhán, was there a point where you said, yeah, this is me and this is who I am? Was it a glaring moment, or did it kind of just softly settle in? And do you think that everybody hits that moment?
Well, there's two types of different things. So you hear about self-love and you hear about self-acceptance. I'm more of the side of self-acceptance, because for me, self-acceptance is the foundation. So I work more on the self-acceptance piece, because if you have the self-acceptance, the self-love comes. I think if you bypass the self-acceptance piece and move on to self-love, from my perspective, you will struggle to have the self-love because you haven't built the foundations of the house. I guess there's different stages in your life. Every stage comes with a developing every decade comes with a developing stage in your life, and teenage years, we all know, no matter if you have a disability or no disability, we all know your teenage years are a struggle for most people, especially in today's society. I'm kind of looking that I'm an old lady now. I'm an
Far
old
from it.
lady now.
If you're an old lady, then I'm ancient.
I'm an old lady now. So I think, yes, teenage years are a struggle. And even into your 20s, you're still finding yourself. And and I think this is one thing I really want to get across. There's no kind of, you're not born into the world and say, here you go now, Siobhán, there's a manual. You follow this manual now until your last breath.
Yeah.
That's not how life goes. So some people might struggle in their teens. Some might find it hard to find themselves in their 20s. Some people in their 30s might, this whole by the time you're 25, you have to be married. And by the time you're 30, you have to have kids. And oh my Lord, I'm not able. I'm just not
No
able.
thanks. Yeah.
It's just, I think society puts extra pressure on us, especially as women. I can only speak from a woman's perspective. I'm sure males feel the exact same, but from a woman's perspective, there's always this deadline. There's always this, you have to, okay, you have to do your leaving cert, and after your leaving cert, you have to go to college, and after that, you have to get a job, and after that, you have to, it's just who made up all of these rules? And who's actually able to achieve all of these rules?
Yeah. Do you think, do those rules stifle a person's authentic growth or getting to know yourself?
Absolutely, because if you were trying to do life by the book or by the manual, I think you're personally missing out on life. My life couldn't have been any more up and down, back to front, and inside out. But I'm experiencing life. I've gotten the opportunity to experience everything that life has to offer. And that's not to say that everything in life has been wonderful, because it hasn't. Nobody's going to go through life without experiencing heartbreak. Nobody's going to go through life without having rejection. And if you think that, well, you might as well just wrap yourself up there in cotton wool and just not experience that, because that's not what life is.
Yeah.
Life is everything, the ups and downs, the quirkiness. That's what life is about, and that's what I want to leave this life knowing, that I've experienced all of it. Some of it, yes, not so nice. As I said earlier, the whole grieving process and losing a loved one, it does terrify me, but I do know that that's something I will have to go through. So, yeah.
And talk to me a bit about, I want to go back to the grieving process of losing a part of yourself. Tell me a bit about that and what you mean by that.
Okay, so it's kind of I suppose there is an awful lot of people out there who have disabilities who aren't accepting of their disability. There's an awful lot of people out there who have acquired a disability later in life. So you have to mourn the life maybe that you never had, or you have to mourn the life that you once had. But that does not mean that that the door that you're opening up is going to be a dark door. It can be an amazing door as well. But you have to be able to close one door to open another. And it is working through those, I'm a queen when it comes to being told all sorts of bad things about your health, and there ain't nothing that I have been there is nothing that I have not been told that I can't that I know that you can work through. And at the time it's going to feel like a ton of bricks has been landed on top of you, but you will. And I think that's where out in today's society, that taboo is lifting about getting help and support in and around this topic is a huge benefit to working towards and getting somebody, whether it's a coach or whether it's a therapist that has experience in that area. I am a huge advocate for that there has to be a background in the area in which you're seeking help from.
Yeah, 100%. And talk me through, did you go through your own grieving process, and what was that like?
So you might say now that I'm a quite smiley individual. Well, as a teenager, I was not so nice one at times. I was a bit of a wagon during my teenage years. My poor mother, I swear to God, she's a saint. So I did go through a turmoil a couple of years as a teenager because
Yeah.
at the age of 19, um, you're finishing secondary school, you're going to college. It's a huge stage in
Yeah.
one's life.
Yeah.
Well, at that stage in my life, I was dealing with getting diagnosed with stage 5 renal failure,
Mm.
which sent me AWOL. It actually sent me AWOL. I won't lie, it really did.
Yeah.
And my poor mother, I don't think she knew like her A from her elbow kind of a thing. Um, So basically, it was kind of, I was very anti therapy back in the day, very anti it. Like, what would I be going to that? I don't need no help. I'm grand, and, which was so further from the truth. Um, but she introduced me to um, a life coach at the time. And I kind of thought at the time, me being silly, I suppose, thinking, oh, sure, life coach now, they're not going to be psychoanalyzing me and they're going to have a chat and it's going to be fine and no bother. Everything's going to be perfect. So that's was grand anyway. I went to my first coaching session and I will never forget it to this. I'll never forget it. He turns around, he says to me like Siobhán, if there was no no obstacles in the world and like money, nothing was a problem, well, what would you see yourself doing for the rest of your life? And I was there looking at myself and I'm looking at him thinking, I barely know what I'm doing tomorrow. And this fellow wants me to know what I'm doing for the rest of my life. Like, I don't think this is going to work. I was like, this is bananas. Like, so I was like, grand. And I didn't answer him. But I
Yeah.
come back the next week. So whatever he said, and this is where I think coaching is a huge thing. It's about planting those little nuggets
Yeah.
that you go away and you explore it for yourself and you
For
make
yourself.
your own of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I went away my like next week and I came back the next week. Do you know what made me go back the next week? But anyway, I went back the next week and I said, oh, do you know that question you asked me last week about what do I see, like my legacy and all that jazz? And he's like, yeah, but you looked at me like I had two heads. And I says, well, I have an answer for you. And he goes, well, go on. What's your answer? Like, I think I'd made my match in him anyway. It's like, go on.
Yeah.
What's your answer? I was like, well, I've always wanted to tell my story. And he goes, grand, we'll do it. And I was there like, we'll do it. And I
Yeah.
always say this to people, like, it isn't as just easy now sitting down writing a book.
No.
It is not, because from that day on, I saw a life coach weekly for 7 years.
Wow.
7 years. And at the end of the 7
Gosh.
years, I produced my first publication, Me and My Backbone.
Ah, what a name for a book, Siobhán.
Yeah, it's kind of like a play on words because obviously I have scoliosis, so me and my backbone. But the main kind of ethos behind it is that my mum is my backbone. And it takes you through my journey with spina bifida, but also my relationship with my mum.
And you published a second book then?
Published a second book in 2023. Now, the second book is a little different. There's a little different to the first book. I think because I've grown up, I suppose, and there's 10 years in the difference between the first and the second book. I've grown up and I've spoken about things that are a bit more topical in today's society, and especially in and around how disabled women are seen in society.
Yeah.
It's a huge interest of mine as to how they're actually seen, how women are seen in general in society, but definitely how women with disabilities are seen, and in and around the sexuality piece and in and around kids and family and all of these, because these are topics, as much as I'm very open about speaking about them, these are not topics that are spoken about when it comes to disabilities. Because when you have a disability, your main aim should be, and it's in air quotes because it's a load of rubbish, your main topic or concern should be just your health. That's the only thing you should be just concerned, staying above water. And I'm like, and there's a whole heap of things. Like, we still have the same hopes, we still have the same desires as every other woman on the planet, but they're just not spoken about. And I think it's extremely disappointing that they're not spoken about, because it's a huge elephant in the room. And I just feel like it needs to be spoken about more, especially the mother piece, I think.
Yeah, and you posted a really honest video on LinkedIn about that. Tell me about that, Siobhán.
I think it's been something I've always had this burning desire to speak about. But because I suppose I've been influenced by society in a not so nice way, thinking like, I can't speak about that now, and like there's no need to be speaking about that. But I think there's just something within me lately that I need to speak about this, because we're not seen as mums. We're seen as people that need to be taken care of, and not people that can take care of other people, which is so further from the truth. I know some beautiful women who are her mums, and they look after their babies or their kids just as well as any other mother. And I think I'm obviously at the age now where, like, we are, as women, we are run by our biological clock. Mine's ticking. But I can't have kids. And it isn't a case of I can't physically have a child, I can't carry it. Because obviously I'm only 4'6", and I am known as the 10% lady. And when I say the 10% lady is, like I mentioned earlier, my kidney function is at 10%, but also my lung function is at 10%.
Yeah.
So it's not feasible. It's too risky for me, but it's also too risky for my unborn child to put them under that strain and stuff. It's just not feasible. So it is a decision that I've made myself. It's a decision that's come to taken a while to learn and a while to come to terms with. This is why I was saying earlier, it's not a light switch. This is a grieving process. This is a grieving process in which I'm going through at present. But if I'm going through it, I'm a firm believer that there's so many other women out there who are going through it also. But where's the space for the disabled woman to speak about it? Like, if a man can't have a kid, or a woman who is able-bodied can't have a kid, oh, it's like, oh, the poor thing, and it's so hard on them, and which it is. I'm not taking it away from able-bodied people. It is devastating, because I read somewhere, or listened to something there the other day, that, like, if you can't have a kid, and the amount of money that sometimes we throw at something and you still can't have it, it's so devastating. But I think society shows more compassion to the able-bodied community more so than the disabled community. I just want that same compassion to be shown both ends of the scale.
Yeah. And Siobhán, have you been able to make peace with your decision?
I think, and it is not about it's not about putting stuff out into the public domain when I say this. I think it's...
No.
I think by me putting it out in the public domain and speaking about it in the public domain, that is me making my peace with it.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's about speaking. Like, my voice is a huge thing to me. Like, I'm a speaker. I speak. So that's my tool. That's my tool to society. That's my why, and why I'm here on this planet. So this is me, in a sense. Like, this is me making my peace with it. Now, I think some people may see it differently. Like, we live in Ireland, and there is generations that within Ireland that they see things in a different way. They grew up in different generations to us, and they may think that what I'm doing is stone mad. And what's the need to talk about it? And, like, can't you just not deal with it on yourself? But I have dealt with it. Me putting it out there in the public domain now is the final piece to the pie. I'm not putting it out there when I'm unstable. I'm very solid about it now. It is grieving. I'm quite sad about it, but I'm a logic thinker at heart. I think with my logic, but I deal with my emotions, myself, kind of a thing. So yeah, I do think I'm making my peace with it. Will I ever fully make my peace with it? And I think this comes from me, and I've spoken about this before, this whole self-love piece. And I think they're kind of similar to me. Will I fully make my peace with this? Probably not,
Yeah.
because it is a devastating thing. It's like
Yeah.
that self-love piece. Will you fully self-love yourself from head to toe every day of the week? Not really. So that's why the self-acceptance is very important. Because on those days where you're not feeling your fabulous self and you're looking in the mirror and you're thinking, Jesus, my hair is sideways today, but you have the foundations. So you know that today is just a bad day. So I know with this piece that the piece I'm making with this, yeah, there'll be some days I'll cry. There'll be some days I'll get frustrated. There'll be some days I'll be annoyed, but I'll have the foundation piece solid that I can step back and step forward again.
And do you think by putting it out there that it might help others?
That's my hoping.
Yeah.
But I think in a way why I'm putting it out there a little bit more is for the other side of the coin, for other people to see, because like we often say that we don't know something until it comes knocking on our door. We don't know something until we have to live with it. But I
Yeah.
want to show, I think my main why and my main purpose is to really give people, whether it's able-bodied people or people that can have children, just give them that insight and give them that knowledge that this does happen and there is people in the world that struggle with this.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously then, like, the people like myself who have a disability, they will feel heard then. So it's about working and educating both sides of the coin. This isn't about just helping people with disabilities and making them feel heard. That's a very important piece. But it's also the other side of the coin and educating people so we can marry together, and that compassion and understanding comes from both sides of the coin. It's like communication.
Yeah.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
point one person communicating if the other person doesn't want to communicate with you. It's both people. And that's what
Yeah.
my why and my purpose is. Both people.
And Siobhán, just from talking to you previously, I know that you would never, it's not your aim to ever speak on behalf of anybody else. Do you think that society's perception of a person with a disability is very different to the lived experience of a person with a disability?
100%. I think that society kind of think one size fits all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of us go into the shop and wear same size top. We all wear different sizes.
Yeah.
Our perspective in life, or our experience in life is very different. Like spina bifida is known as a snowflake condition. And the reason why it's known as a snowflake condition is like, if there was 10 Siobhán Mungovan's lined up there, and they all had spina bifida, I can guarantee you, Ciara, they would have all different forms of it, first of all. But they're looking at the world out through their own eyes. Like, how I see the world, we have all different maps of the world. How I see the world is very different to somebody else. And I think that's the beauty with educating and hearing other people's perspective and other people's experience. Like, just be open. And I think society is a little bit closed off with the topics in which we have spoken about. Oh, sure, why would you be getting married? Sure, what would you be doing that for? And sure, you're better off now not to be having kids. You're better off now not to be doing that. It's just, I think it's out of, and I don't think it's out of badness. I do think it's out of uncomfortableness. They just don't want to open up the conversation. And I want to be able to open up that conversation, but in a very casual way. Even though I'm in the corporate world for 20 years, I wouldn't consider myself a corporate girly. I'm more of a conversationalist. I meet the people where they're at in the knowledge of which they know, and then help and support them with maybe a little bit more. But it's about building on what they already know, not what I want them to know. It's what they already know, and opening up their eyes and ears to a little bit more.
And I know this is quite a huge question and we're definitely not going to solve it today, but if society or people could do anything or change anything to help with the change in perception of a person with a disability and understanding their lived experience better, what could they do?
For me, it's very simple. It's listen.
Yeah.
Don't come in with your 2 pence worth saying, oh, but if you did it this way, and sure, if you did it that way, and oh, sure, I know Mary down the road and she does this. Just listen to the person. Listen to what they're going through. And listen. That is just holding space. Nobody needs to be a qualified psycho, this therapist, that, or whatever. To hold space is the greatest gift you could give anybody. And it's something we all can do.
Yeah.
And it's not, like you said, it's not an overnight job, but it's just sitting with them and asking them. I think, I don't know if it's just an Irish thing, but we're great fixers here in Ireland.
Yeah.
We think we want to fix the world and we want to fix everyone's problem, but that's just out of panic. That's like, oh my gosh, I just want her to be okay.
And if we can't fix, is it just brushing it under the carpet kind of thing?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But she will be okay if
Yeah.
you just listen to her. And by listening to her, she will have told you, or he or she will have told you what they need and what they want from you. But if we're not listening, we will never get it.
No.
And you, like you just said, we are devils for brushing stuff under the carpet that we don't know how to deal with. We're a bit like, oh my gosh, I don't know how to approach this. But that listening piece is key.
Yeah. And asking as well, Siobhán, would I be right in saying this? Correct me if I'm wrong. Asking what you want or how you feel about something or what you think about something.
Yes, 100%. Like it's okay. But I think this is the piece that I've probably struggled with for quite some time. The asking and the telling people. It does take time. And it comes back to that vulnerability piece.
Yeah.
It takes a lot for somebody to come out and say, oh, Jesus, my life is up in hape at the moment, or this is happening and that's happening. That's going to take time.
Mm-hmm.
But just by sitting with them and providing that safe space, and it's about trust building that trust. And in time, they will. Trust me. I've done it. I was the very anti-opening up, very anti-vulnerability. So it does take time, but that person needs to know that it's a safe space for them to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So by sitting there, and if you just sit there and do nothing, there's magic and there's power in that alone.
Yeah, that's so true, Siobhán. What would you say to somebody who might be feeling like they're not understood, or that society has disempowered them? What would you say to them?
I guess for me, it's about finding your tribe, because sometimes, no matter how much times we try and explain ourselves to certain people, they may never get it. And it's to make our peace with that.
Yeah.
But it's about stepping out into the outside your comfort zone as well. You mentioned about society. Society, no matter who we are, will always want to put us into a box, will always want to label it. And it's up to you whether you take on that label or not. That's your choice. You are in control of you. So I can say I'm a very proud disabled woman. But I can say that.
Yeah.
And I'm stepping into my power and saying that nobody's taking that power away from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've had a very challenging life, very challenging experiences, but it's made me who I am. And if I was to feed into what everything society said I couldn't do, Jesus, I wouldn't have made it outside the maternity ward anyway.
Yeah.
Because your man was planning my funeral. And I just think, like, to work on yourself and not focus on other people, and to focus on society, like I said, what society thinks you should and shouldn't be doing. Only you know what you should and shouldn't be doing. And nobody knows. Like, I think this is fascinating. I know doctors, they have to give the worst case scenario. Believe me, they give me so many worst case scenarios, but nobody knows. And this is what when I speak to parents who have children with additional needs, just born or whatever, nobody can tell you what your child can and cannot do in 2 years' time, 5 years' time. Nobody. They don't even know themselves. So I suppose stop looking so far down the road. And that's extremely hard to do when you're in an absolute storm, because you're always going to look what the future is of this individual. but try and just go for today, because I do think that's the magic piece of the puzzle that my mum did. My mum only sees today. She does not see tomorrow. She doesn't have a clue what tomorrow is going to bring. She just sees today. So I think that just forget your labels and just live for today.
That's all for this week. Next week, I'm joined by Tammy Darcy, founder of the Shona Project, which she set up to empower young women to live life on their own terms.